So here we are in Visual Studio, getting ready to do some test first development. And you can see I've got nothing loaded. What I'd like you to do first is click File, New, Project. And I'd like you to please choose the C# class library project template and click Next. And I'm going to call this class library my Coffee Shop Lib. And this is where we're going to put our business logic for a little online coffee shop app. So we have something sort of practical to work with. Now I'd like to name the solution something different. I want the solution to be Coffee Shop Solution, and I've got it in a folder that I've set up for this. And then we'll click Next. .NET 6 is fine, and then we click Create. So now we have a solution with one C# library project in it, and this will output a DLL. Now the next thing I want to do is add a second DLL. So we'll right click and we'll say Add New Project. And again, please choose C# class library. And this one we're going to call Coffee Shop Tests. Click Next and Create. So now we have two DLLs. The first one, Coffee Shop Lib, is where we put our business logic. The second one, Coffee Shop Tests, is where we're going to put our test code. And this is an important separation. When you're actually deploying your solution, you don't want to deploy your automated test library. That's not for public consumption or something that needs to be put on the web server or whatever it is. That is purely internal. However, the library has the business logic. So that is the main thing we're trying to build. Now, you may wonder why I'm choosing a library here. So, and if you go online and you look, for example, at examples of how to create an ASP.NET web service, what you'll see is all the business logic for the web service, at least in Microsoft's examples, is written directly into the controllers. It's not in a separate DLL. So I personally do not think this is a very good idea. I understand why they do it for the purpose of creating easy to understand examples, but I really like to segregate my business logic code into a separate DLL. There are several reasons to do this. The primary one is it allows you to deploy it independent of that ASP.NET web service. So maybe you want to create a command line tool for interacting with that business logic, or maybe, as we're doing, you want to write automated tests that hit those functions directly without having to go through a REST API. So I realize this is different and new and not something you may be in the habit of doing, but I encourage you to really consider this approach and to put your business logic in its own DLL, regardless of how you plan to expose it or deploy it. So the last thing we need to do is we need to get our test framework set up. So for this, we go to Tools, NuGet Package Manager, Manage NuGet Packages for Solution. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe it's Nugget. I'm not sure. In any case, the first thing we want to do is browse, and we can just put in the word test. And the first thing that comes up is the Microsoft.NET Test SDK. So we definitely need that installed, and we want to install it into our Coffee Shop Tests library. It doesn't need to be part of the actual business logic library. And we'll say OK, and we're going to accept that. And the next thing I'm going to browse for is NUnit. So NUnit is a popular, NUnit. It's a popular test framework. I guess I probably prefer it just because I've been using it so long. It works really well. So it's not the only one, but that's the one I'm going to teach you and what I'm going to use. So we're going to use NUnit, and we will install it into our test library and accept that. And we also want to install the NUnit 3 test adapter into our test library. Okay. And then let's do a quick build and see if our solution builds, and it does. So we are now set up. Everything is ready for us to start writing some actual code. And that's what we'll start in the next video.